Excellent. So hopefully, I'm hoping we can wrap this up before the full hour today. Oscar 211 is our standard today, and it is unfortunately one of the most boring. So you got to stick with it and keep with it. So hang in there, everybody. So we're going to start out with, of course, where we always begin, with our video and our definition of this standard, which is requisite skills for using technology tools are clearly stated and supported with resources. So we're talking about how we add technology to our Blackboard course. This includes the publisher as well as other tools you're using.
It's important for students to know up front what's going to be expected of them, not only with the course material, but any type of technology or tools that they're going to be expected to interact with. They're going to need to know ahead of time, what are these tools and what do I need as far as software or hardware to be able to fully engage with those tools. Students need that kind of heads up, I guess, so that they can prepare themselves the best way that they can. You don't want technology to ever be a roadblock in a course, especially an online course where technology is really, the medium for the course. You don't want any element of technology to be a roadblock. So I guess some examples that I think of off the top of my head have to do with using, like the use of a webcam. So whether that's using software where you're having a synchronous meeting with students using something like Skype or Zoom or Google Hangouts, or an asynchronous activity, which would use video like VoiceThread. The student's going to need to know, what kind of hardware they're going to need as far as a webcam. So what we've done at MCC is we've instructed, or we've kind of laid out what they'll need to be ready to do these activities. So as far as what type of webcam is going to work, where you could go to purchase a webcam if you don't have one. And then we also offer opportunities within the course for the students to try out this technology before they're expected to really participate in a way where they might be assessed. There's a balance between being thorough and being overcomplicated. I think you can find yourself somewhere in the middle. You don't want students to feel overwhelmed. Like, what are these things that I'm going to have to learn to complete this course? A potential pitfall for outlining the technology needs for the course could be if you're being a little bit overcomplicated. I think it's good to give students clear directions on what they're going to need to do, but not to overwhelm them at the same time. So a potential pitfall would also be not introducing that to them right off the bat. So you want to make sure that you're not waiting till the last minute to introduce a new technology.
There we go. There we go. So we're really talking about setting up students to be prepared for what's coming next in the course, what kind of software you require, what kind of hardware, and there's quite a bit to it, as we'll see. So in the definition, it talks about part 1, and in part 1, it's talking about all of the technology that is needed for the course is introduced along with the resources that fully support the learner. And then it's introduced early and reinforced throughout the course. So this is a key point, that students have a chance to understand what the technology is, how it will be used in the course, what will be expected of them, and then this will be reinforced along with things like knowledge bases, tutorials, step-by-steps, videos as they move through the course. The second part talks about the skills needed. You need to let the learners know, the students know, what type of skill they need to bring to the class previously. Now, in most cases, that's going to be able to use a computer, get on the internet, use a mouse, and be able to use the browser, right? So that's what we're talking about for Blackboard level and most often publisher level. But sometimes you're going to have software like lab kits are going to have a lot more information for those things. Like the students go to the art store and buy their art supplies, right? There's a lot more instructions that need to happen with that. It also explains what type of level they'll be asked to use these skills at, right? Are you just asking for beginning skills in Microsoft Word for the class, or are you asking them to be able to track changes and do peer reviews and commenting, right? Which would be more advanced level of Word. And part 3, it specifically talks about third-party content, which are our publishers, online labs, other software that we're using, that they need to have resources and tutorials that talk about how to use them and where to go for help. And we do have quite a few of these third-party. So VoiceThread, Medial, Respondus, your publisher. We have Labster, we have Hands-On Labs, Carolina Biology Carolina, where does that go? We have all of our hardware for computer sciences and virtual networks. We have a lot of things for some of the other departments like communications with Adobe Creative Suite. So there's quite a few departments that use additional software and hardware. So let's talk about the practices. So right now I'm going to walk through the basics, which means that just about every course is going to have some of these things in it. Right. So we're talking about software or apps specifically, which includes your publisher textbook. And specifically, I called out a few departments I know automatically have some of this software they use, like music has some particular software, art has Adobe Suite. Also communications does. I believe business may have some QuickBooks and some other particular software to those departments. I'm also talking about VoiceThread, Respondus, Zoom, Collaborate, and Blackboard. So the good news is that we handle most of the bottom list there. We provide you most of that list, so all you have to do is connect to it. One of the things you should do is in one of your videos at the beginning of the course is to overview the software that's required, which includes the publisher. So this would be like a nice video about the publisher. You could put in there what it is. You could put in what's required to know before, so they understand what they're required for. I know there's some business professional courses that use Microsoft Office and Microsoft Excel and Microsoft PowerPoint, right? So what do they need before they come to those courses? How technology will be used in the course, and an explanation of costs and fees. So most of these things are free, but I know there are Adobe Acrobat, Adobe Suite has a monthly fee, or they can use it in the lab. So I'm sure you can talk about that. There is sometimes costs associated with the software for computers or business for QuickBooks. But you can list those within a little overview video that talks about that. You can also do a screencast video on how to find the software, where it is. So luckily, in some of your publishers that are using some software, they do this all for you. So it's included right in the publisher. But some, you're going to have to provide that know-how to the students. We do a lot of like how-to videos for Blackboard. We have some VoiceThread videos, Respondus, Collaborate, and Zoom already done for you. So if you're using something like Flipgrid or Padlet or Quizlet or something else, you'll need to make a screencast video of where the students can find it, how do they log in, and where do they go for help. You also want to include links to documentation, video tutorials reference guides, and of course, a link to the help desk. So under most circumstances for the software I've talked about, we're going to be able to help them at the help desk or point them in the right direction, with the exception of the Creative Suite. The Creative Suite, they'll have to talk to Adobe, but some of the monitors in the computer labs, sometimes the monitors have experience and can help some of the students with some of those things. So you can also make an example, an overview, instead of a video. You can also do it in writing. It's a little bit more cumbersome than a PowerPoint, but I thought I'd write one up for you. So this is just for Blackboard and some of the tools, and it's a way that you can use your voice in the course, right? So I'm writing to my students, like I'm writing a letter to them right in the course, and I just throw in an item and under technical requirements. And then I talk about the tools I use, what they're going to have to require, right? So they need a computer, Chrome browser, and stable internet. I'm also using VoiceThread, and I talk about why I'm using VoiceThread in the course. And then I also provide them where to get help, right? So I send them to my Ask a Question discussion because I can answer all of their technical questions. So you may want to send them to the help desk straight away because you are not doing their technical, but because, I have a Blackboard expert, I can help them right there. I also then talk about that the software is free or covered by their tuition fees, so there's no additional cost, right? So you really want to let them know that there's no cost to the course, or there is a cost, and then you want to list all that, as well as talking about this opt out from the IA. I know we don't want to opt out, but there are quite a few students who just cannot use an online textbook or publisher platform, and they need other options. So they need the opt out, so they don't have to pay twice for a book. Again, that overview is hitting that what, when, where, why, how of the technology. And you're getting them prepared for what's going to happen in the course. Here's a little small, so we'll see if I can get in there. I can zoom in maybe. Oh, no, it's not going to let me zoom in at all. So for here, this one is the template that I was talking about yesterday. And so this is the updated one with Microsoft OneDrive as well, with all of the links on that. So again, that is in the community of effective practice organization in Blackboard. So if you're not in that organization, let me know. I'll put you in there. And it is listed under the templates. You'll see free templates, and they're all in there. And this has all of the links. It includes that online orientation link. It has the computer labs, so they can find out what the computer labs, what time they're open, and then how to download the Office software in OneDrive. I also have links to the documentation. So Kyle put together a Blackboard FAQ, which walks the student through some of the most basic Blackboard tutorials. He also put a list of Blackboard videos for students together. So they're sort of YouTube or media lists together. And then, of course, Blackboard put a YouTube watch list together for students for the most used help list. And all those links are available. Lockdown browser and monitor for the student video. So there's been some changes. So I'd like to talk about that. So we do have a student video. So anybody using lockdown browser and monitor, there is a student video that you can put right into your course. It walks the student through, explains to them what the browser is, what it's going to do, and everything, how the process runs. So it's a really great little video to put in there. So I really wanted to talk about lockdown browser monitor policies. So there was a recent change a few weeks ago. It basically right at the beginning of the semester, a new lawsuit was completed that everybody was watching, and the student won. And what that has is that the lockdown respondus browser and monitor is a violation of Amendment 4, I believe. It is an invasion of privacy. So not the Supreme Court, but the federal judge did find in favor of the student. So that does have some changes. If you are using Lockdown Browser, we now have, I'm sorry about the scrolling here, but it's down here. We now have sample statements that you should add about privacy to your syllabus and in your deconstructed syllabus within your Blackboard course. We also have some practice tests ideas and also an additional required technology statement. This will make us square with the new lawsuit, which basically says if you click yes, you are admitting to allowing us to film wherever you are, your home, your bedroom, wherever you choose to open up Respondus Monitor. By clicking yes and taking the test, you agree. And so that's what that new response is. So the students will see this new window pop up before they test that says, do you agree? And they are basically agreeing. So wherever they are, it won't be an invasion of privacy. So I'm going to go back and get my share. Excellent. So if you know anybody who's using Lockdown Browser, let them know there's been a change and they can watch this recording, get more information about that. I know math it also is. This also might be true for anyone using a publisher that has using a Lockdown Browser Monitor kind of thing as well. So if you're taping students live in some sort of testing situation, then you want to make sure you're covered all your bases. The second thing that the lawsuit talked about was we can no longer have students take tests live on Zoom where other students can see their environment, right? So if I'm taking a test and I look over and I can see, Juan's house kitchen, right? That is a violation of Amendment 4. So we can no longer do live proctoring through Zoom, in case anybody's doing that. So I did do an example login for you. I did a little 30-second clip here. So I will have this available so you can take this and just stick it right into your course. It is a little GIF. All it is how to log into Blackboard for the students. And then you'll be able to add this right to your course. You can send it. It's small enough that you can send it in an announcement or an email for the students. So I will be adding that to the resources. I also did a help center video as well. So you can add this to your course. So we have a help center for students and for you. It's the little question mark. You can move it up and down. If everybody hates that damn thing, you can just move it out of the way. And also, this will walk the student through looking up for a video or whether they need step-by-step instructions for something. And then our contact. So anytime the student needs help, you can send them to the little question mark help desk, and you can add this video into your get started or your overview so that to remind them of where they can go. Also, there's an Ally for Student video, which is very quick. You can also be able to put that link in there for the resources as well. So you'll be able to add Ally for students. And all it is it's a quick video that talks about the alternative formats and how students can use that, right? So all of these little videos you can put in your Get Started or in an area where you're talking about technology, so that students can access them. So we'll try to get you as many resources as possible. So as you know, I don't believe in recreating the wheel 5 billion times. So we'll get you as much of those little GIFs and videos for you so you can put them in your courses, and we'll keep them updated so that you can, if anything changes with the platform, you'll be able to put those changes right in. And now let's talk about the non-supported software. And most everybody has a publisher, which is a non-supported software in their course. You want to walk through and do the same thing. And sometimes the publishers do this for you, which is wonderful. But this also includes Adobe Acrobat Creative Suite. It includes Python and JSON and all the software that you're using for that. It includes Microsoft Office and all of that. It includes all of those things that we use, like Padlet and Flipgrid and Quizlet and all those little apps that people use, anything that is not supported by IT. You want to do the same thing. You want to create an overview of the tools. It can be a video as well. You want to list them out. You want to talk about what is expected for them to already know how to do in order to use these. You want to also tell them how you're going to use it in the course, and you're going to explain any kind of cost and fees. And sometimes there's like membership webs, or you have them subscribe to Financial Times online or something like that. So that all falls under this practice. You want to definitely screencast a video for a login for each one of those softwares. And you want to have detailed logging instructions and how to reset their passwords. And you also want to have links directly to their technical support. There is an enormous amount of students who are very disappointed when they call IT and we cannot help them. Nobody can help them, and they don't have anywhere to go. So make sure you definitely put in all those technical support links for them, documentation, videos, and quick reference guides right into their courses, so they'll be able to find what they need very quickly. This also covers lab kits, Labster, hands-on. If you're doing PhET simulation, also covers visible body if you're using that for nursing simulator, SimCity. What was a SimCity community, Sim Community? There's a couple of the ones for that as well. So those are for all of those software apps. Excellent. And then it brings us to the hardware. So there are a lot of hardware in our courses as well. So again, we're back to chemistry, physics, engineering, biology. We're talking about webcams and mics if they're needed for a Respondus lockdown browser. We're talking about video cameras, lighting setups for communications. We're talking about art portfolios and pencil kits and beautiful paintings with beautiful paint. And for music, of course, we're talking about, musical instruments or any kind of hardware or paper or sheets, music they need. And of course, calculators, which is just about everybody in math. And so for that, we have the same thing. The questions are slightly different. So you still want to give an overview, but you also want to put specifications for hardware, including the brand, model, and average pricing, right? So you want to give that to them. I know art does a fantastic job because we've been doing it since the age of the dinosaur, and music as well. Giving students a selection of different types of things to buy, and letting the student choose from several different sources, right? So you're giving them a choice of what they want. Lab kits come usually with a briefing, a technical briefing that you can add to Blackboard so they can see what model and brand and links to that. Make sure they have a list of what's included so they know when they open the boxes, that everything is there. Usually it's included, but sometimes I know sometimes the software walks them through that part too as well. And also talk about compatibility issues with software and hardware. So even though we support some JAWS and we support Dragon and we support a whole bunch of screen readers, sometimes there's real compatibility issues with some things, some of the softwares that are non-supported that you're using. So make sure that they are compliant and accessible. You want to talk about, how you're going to introduce that to the course. You want to talk about the documentation, video tutorials, and quick reference guides. You want to give them as much as possible. And you also want to set up a discussion for technology issues, which you can help them with. Since they can't go to the IT desk, you want to make sure that you're handling so that even though that you might not be able to help them, you will be able to give them the numbers where to go and where to get help. And you will know that they're having problems. A lot of times it's, they don't tell you a week later and you're like, well, why didn't you tell me? Right. So you put in a technology issues forum so that they will tell you right away when they're having technology issues. So that's it for today, believe it or not. As always, you can request a course review, and that means you'll be working with me through the first 13 of these in a rubric, and we'll have build an action plan together as well. We're talking, if you come to all of the OSCQR webinars and then do the course review, there's night points and a digital badge. And then, of course, there's some resources. So I've put just about everything in the Community of Effective Practice in Blackboard. Again, it's an organization, not a course. And then in OSCQR Standard 11, there's research is a little thin in this area because it's really falls under technical documentation, where what do you do with technical documentation? If you're even interested, there's a Microsoft style guide. So if you've ever want to know how to write instructions, you can look up MS style guide, and that will give you a basic agreement of standard uses of how to write a job aid. How do you write step-by-step instructions? Microsoft made a manual for it, and the rest of the world has picked it up and adopted it. So I will also put some of those little video clips in the Community of Effective Practice for you, and also in the OSCQR page, the OSCQR 13 webinar page as well, so you can find those resources there.